Today on QVC, look at the only other giant card I own. You think this is an extreme disappointment? Yeah, wait until you realize that you had the tour guide at one point and you sold it. Now you're stuck with fucking number 17 detached, gain some attack points. Yep, this is what my life has become. I made some terrible life decisions. But hey, at least it's not hollow, right? God, they should have made them hollow back in the day. Alright, onwards and upwards to Pink Robbie's Q&A segment. Alright, my pet Leviathan will be assisting us today with our tour through the last. Thunderwolf asked, what is your best way to counter Sky Strike or Trickstars? Side deck or main deck? Also, when will you visit No Limit Gaming? Missed you last time you came. Love the market, watch videos. Help me prepare my wallet for the onslaught of the meta. I'll be down to NLG sometime when we get a coordinated event going again. It's been a little bit. Don't worry. I'll be back. I'm usually down there for Vanguard most of the time. Best way is counter Sky Striker meta. Don't lose to time, honestly. Play at a very appropriate pace. Know your deck better than your opponent knows their deck. Mind Crush is very good. Solemn Strikes are really good. Well time your Widow Anchors. I think that's about it, honestly. Just play at an appropriate pace so you don't get fucked. I think it's the best way to look at the matchup. The deck does a lot, don't get me wrong. But I think those key choices, though, Mind Crush is fucking phenomenal, and striking good effects is usually pretty good. But if your opponent has the light stage, well, it's unfortunate. Christopher Smith asked, how did you get into Yu-Gi-Oh? I got into Yu-Gi-Oh through a friend of mine during my early days of playing Pokemon. Me and my friend Mike Payne were actually playing starter deck versus starter deck. I think it was Yugi versus Kaiba back in the day. Man, I miss the earlier days of Yu-Gi-Oh. Those were the fun, simple days. Christopher Smith also asked, white or rye? White. I'm a very simple person in that regard. Austin Bryan asked, will you ever sell your books, meaning Firewall Me Daddy and Trickster Art of the Trick? Coming to you in 2030. These are just concept arts for now. As I said, I might release these as tokens. I think people would really love that shit, don't you? Getting your chance to own the concept art for a #1 seller. God, could you imagine when these go on Amazon? Nick Quintaro asked, can you ever make a career or steady living out of Yu-Gi-Oh? If so, thanks for answering. If not, thanks anyway. Can you make a steady living out of this game? I have the equivalent to probably 3 jobs. I consider Yu-Gi Tubbing a job because you have to keep up on everything. On top of my own business, on top of managing my own investments. There's a lot of really hard shit you have to make decisions for. On the game alone, no. You have to know Magic, you have to know Pokemon, and you would also have to own a brick and mortar, Nick, to have that sort of income to keep you stable, honestly. But that's just my 2 cents. Matt Anselment asked, how many bites does it take you to a chili cheese dog from Dairy Queen? 2 to 3, depending on how hungry I am and how the weather is outside. Am I spooked? Am I driving? There's a lot of factors, but 2 to 3 bites. We can't eat that shit in one. I ain't that good. Doug Brown asked, do you like the Pendulum mechanic? I do not. I didn't like Metal Foe format. I was playing ABC during it. This is kind of something that detoured me from the game during that point. I know a lot of people got detoured during during Link format. My era was during Link format, but I've long since adapted to these changes. And catch me outside. How about that, Pendulums? I don't know. They just weren't that exciting to me as a player, honestly. Team Doge La Doge asked, how about checking out Quick Panic Gaming on YouTube? Throw us a sub. We're going every day. We need your guys' help. We've reached over 1K subscribers this past week. Please give us a shout out. Well, Team Doge La Doge, there's your official shout out. Enjoy. Yu-Gi-Oh! Panda asked, what do you think about Zoo now? The engine is great for what it is. Broad Bolt to 1 would help, I think, but pushing too generic of an agenda for that deck might be bad, honestly. I just pick your choices where you want to pick them, but I don't know. I think for the most part, Dryden to 1 is fine to allow the deck to be better. But as the way that the deck stands now, it's just kind of an engine kind of floating there. We're testing the engine in traditional format. It's extremely cute for what it is, but it doesn't grant you nearly as much advantage as you would want. Christian Rivera asked, how was the idea of all the collared shirt Robbies created? Actually, fun fact, the whole Rainbow Robbie concept thing came from my channel last year. Everyone got sick of me evidently having a shitty shirt in every fucking video that I had to go fucking make a Patreon to basically get new shirts so everyone would be happy. My audience is the one that created the concept. I just went with the flow. This is one of the things that, if you want advice for new YouTubers, let your audience drive the way for you. You just go with the flow. It's been with that. It's been a little bit since we've gotten new shirts. We will get some next month. I've been using the money to put towards projects to return to the Patreons, actually. I have Yellow Gadget dice. It took 8 fucking weeks to make those. They're still not here yet. I'm gonna mail those out to the Patreons. I'm working on green and red dice for them as well for the gadgets. But I think it's important to give back to those that support you. So someday Rainbow Robbie will show up. My black shirt got ruined by a whole bunch of lint, and White Robbie has mysteriously disappeared. So I think we're going to have to get 2 more of those to revive them from the dead. I really like my black shirt too. Christian also asked, which of the heroines, Taya, Alexis, Akiza, Katori, Yuza, or Aoi is your favorite? Akiza, because of her assets. And number 3, considering all of the legacy support we will be getting in the new Duelist pack, Megaton, Cybernetic Horizon, and special sets and Battles of Legend, 2 Shadows over Valhalla, which deck are you looking to make and tweaking? I love our Golden Castle Strongberg. Can we get our armor monsters, please? I want Valen's cards. It's all I truly want in life. Hasta Menasti asked, what are your thoughts on Farfa's opinion that basically says that unsearchable cards should always be played 3s of? Do I want to play 3 Garnets? It depends. Does the card apply to the main engine itself? Well, personal spoofing, I think, is a good example of this. How many personal spoofing do we play? 2, I think. Also, guys, it just kind of depends on the concept. I think if the card is not detrimental to the archetype, you can play it. If it's something like personal spoofing, it kind of depends. Is it a draw card, a search card? What's going on there? There's a lot of theory that I think goes into answering this, but I don't think 3 always 100% is a fair assumption. Depends on all the other factors going into it. Zeno asked, what's your opinion on other card games, Weiss, Logic, Luck and Logic, Force of Will, and the impact and presence and future of other bigger card games like Yu-Gi-Oh!, Vanguard, Magic? When Vanguard first released, they absorbed a good chunk of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community. Well, that was during Dragon Ruler format, I think. A lot of players were already pissed off with the way the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was going. It was a great marketing chance for those games to pick up some players. Usually, if a card game is experiencing a really terrible format and something else releases that more people like, they'll absorb that player base. And we've seen it with Dragon Ball Super recently as well. I think presence of other card games is a very good thing. They allow for the competition to absorb other things. But it's got to be very strong, like Vanguard's first appearance and like Dragon Ball Super's entry into the market. If it's a lower impact, like Force of Will's fucked up a lot of times. Luck and Logic was not advertised well enough. Weiss is just Weiss. But these games can impact bigger games depending on if the game is going through a downward slope at the time. It's really interesting. I might get more in depth into that at another time. But I think that answers the little icing on the cake for now. Javier Lopez asked, Robbie Senpai, how big is your band hammer? And he said, Sugoi. About as big as my band hammer needs to actually be. I don't know, how big is Thor's hammer? 6, 7, 8 inches? Probably about that for banning people. Sly Moore asked, do you have a day job, or does your main source of income come from buying and selling? Just intrigued in how you're able to invest so much money into Yu-Gi-Oh! And other expensive card games. Secret is there is no secret. You have to have connections. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. I no longer have my Shonen Jump set. I basically viewed those things as things I could break later in life to get back money, and it worked. So you got to be smart in your choices. You can't just go out there and rush. One bad investment will cost you everything, and then you'll have to start back over, and I don't think that's a very good call. Just be smart, be extremely cautious in what you do. That's honestly where I've gotten to where I am today because of it. Yugioh Franz asked, favorite meal, color, and subject back in school? Pizza for breakfast on Fridays was my shit in middle school. I enjoyed history. And favorite color was green back in the day. Now we're at blue. We've come a very long way here. He also asked, was there a point you were going to quit, switch to another card game, but then you came back to Yu-Gi-Oh? Probably Cardfight Vanguard. I didn't officially quit the game, but I took a break. During Cyberstein format, I took more of a break because I was in a relationship. Thank you, MySpace. And to top things off, also 2014, 2015, I took a little bit more of a backseat during Necros format because I was like transitioning into like my business and things like that. So it was still kind of here, but I wasn't here type of thing. But we were getting there. He said, is there a Yu-Gi-Tuber who produced really good, outstanding content back in the day, but now there's just an average Yu-Gi-Tuber? I don't know. Most of the Yu-Gi-Tubers that I used to know have kind of passed on. Galactic God, I guess, is not producing any content anymore, so I guess he fits the bill. He's a really fucking nice guy. I miss him in this community. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Dr. Malik asked, I want to be the best duelist possible. What diet do you recommend? At least 0 hours of sleep. A whole hell of a lot of energy drinks. For me, I don't need energy drinks. Caffeine still does it for me. And the will to top an event. Back in my youthful days, springtime of my youth, thanks Naruto, I top regionals on no sleep. But you basically use an Ultra Instinct. You're letting your body make your moves for you at that point. But I don't know. There's just one thing or another back in the day. But do whatever makes your body healthy. Just make sure you don't have to end up shitting hella hard at the regional. I've seen many people be late because they were late to the round because they were shitting out their guts or they were barfing because of poor choices the day before. Just stay on top, be healthy. You'll be fine. Kaiser Clone asked, what's your opinions on Brandish Lair of Darkness? I like Diabolsis in the deck. The card is absolutely unfair for what it brings to the deck. And to top things off, being able to Foolish Barrel out a boss monster at will I love it. It's so fun. But I know a lot of people won't agree with that mentality, which is fine. I understand that. But it's so awesome for what it brings to the deck. Just my 2 cents, though. Kakashi0916 says, what clans or archetypes Vanguard would you like to see in Yu-Gi-Oh? We already have the Zodiac Time Beast in here. Bermuda Triangle would be a cool concept, because waifus sell. I don't know. I always loved the particular art style of the females in Yu-Gi-Oh! Whether that be Brandish, the Familiar Possessed, or even Madoshay. All those clans, all those particular cards have sold really well throughout time and space. It's not all that often that you get the chance to see something not dragons in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Speaking of dragons. Sorry, I had to detach my second Exceeds material. I had to power up my Leviathan. Sean Valverde asked, what was your initial thoughts on Links? Did you hate them or like them with the changes that came with them? And has your opinion changed since playing with Links? Links did slow down the game. That was my opinion. The game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Needed a change. They did it great. A lot of people, I think, were a little bit more upsetty with a change. I mean, we knew the change was coming at some point. But I didn't necessarily hate them. I was indifferent towards them. I was like, oh boy, I just learned how to play Zoo, and then you release this shit. Thank you, Konami. That was basically my initial thoughts. Like, cool, I learned one cool thing, now we're doing this with something else. And hey, you know what? It got very interesting, that's for sure. For the most part, I think Links they're fine right now. The game has to progress and evolve. It's my 2 cents, at least. Spicy Soul asked, what is the worst format you had to play? Infernity OTK format. I think it was Chicago 2008. It was the format we had the 410 step iteration of the Kill Me loop. So bad. What is the best format I've played in? 2012, the YCS I topped. I don't know what the hell was going on in that event. Six Samurai won that event. There was a lot of crazy things happening there. Heard a lot of different opinions from older players, thanks. Teledad and formats like that were fine, but I did not like an Infernity format. Shit was not fun at all. Jacob Lee asked, hey Robbie, as a Frog Lair of Darkness player, why all the frog hate? I know you have a love for all anti-meta, and I've always felt like frogs are always slightly relevant. Hope you answer. Thanks, buddy. I love your content, especially Red Robbie. Well, awkwardly enough, Pink Robbie is a formation of Red Robbie. First off, sir, thank you for asking a question. Thing is, Paleo is just not good. Especially in this format. There's just something about set 5 and pass that doesn't really do it for me. Totally Awesome doesn't really... It's a good anti-meta card, but I have to play dead cards in my deck. I like my large monsters, Inspector Border, Thunder King Ryo, Doom Caliber Knight, Banisher the Radiance. I guess I'll give Fossil Dino a shout out, because with Kunai with Chain, he was big back in the day. But the way I look at Stun and Paleo is good for what it is, but the concept in theory of it being an anti-meta deck, it's a little bit slower. Too slow for my taste. I don't know. Also, losing to 60 card Paleo kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for all of space and time, honestly. ABC123 asked, how much do you weigh and can you do the Truffle Shuffle again? Well, I weigh about 4 normal people, as I've said multiple times, and will I do the Truffle Shuffle again? Maybe. It's never out of the realm of possibility. Little Einstein's 3S said, why do you hate my channel? I don't even know who you are, Little Einstein's 3S, but maybe post something I'll watch. Portable Media Reviews said, is it true that your locals has a live T-Rex? We do have a live T-Rex at locals, actually. He's a little adorable. It's really fun watching him and imagining him try to masturbate. He doesn't actually do that, but when you have a live T-Rex, you kind of just let your imagination run wild. But there is that. So we'll keep that in mind. It is a very good spectacle, though. Exela C asked, you like this dick? I do not like this dick. Dipper Duelist said, how much wood would Blue Robbie chuck if Blue Robbie could chuck wood? Blue Robbie... I don't know. That's a good question. How much wood could Blue Robbie chuck if Blue Robbie could chuck wood? Probably a chuckload. And then Young Boy Obito asked, have you ever sucked anyone off behind the dumpster in an event for cards? If so, could you explain the technique you used and for what card? Was it for a 10-cent common or did you just do it for free? That completes this video. Well, to answer this question, the answer is no. I don't even have a technique in all of my years and things that I've seen on the internet. I don't think I could apply said techniques I've seen. And finding a dumpster at a Yu-Gi-Oh event, I feel, is extremely difficult, depending on the venue. But we're not doing that. Is that good enough? Is that a good enough answer? That concludes my Q&A video. If you find yourself behind a dumpster, having to do unspeakable things for cards, please make sure it's for something more than a 10-cent common. Unless you found yourself in a situation in which you need said 10-cent common and you don't have any other way to get it because you don't have 10 cents on you, or they won't sell it to you for 10 cents, then unfortunately, I think you're going to be making the decision easier for yourself, and you shouldn't be doing said terrible things. Look at Leviathan. Would he do those terrible things? Yeah, with a face like that, he might. So, that concludes this Q&A video. That's all I got for you guys today. Please continue to support all colors of the rainbow. And remember, you too can own Firewall Me Daddy and Trickstars, Art of the Trick, in the year 2030. Deucerinos. Stay safe, everybody. It's been one hell of a ride. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.